And he was an exceptional performer in Q2 yesterday's best qualifying for the factory Aprilia team. Can he find his first top 6 finish on that RSGP today?
Aprilia, of course, chasing not only their first Grand Prix victory in the MotoGP era this afternoon, but their 250th Grand Prix win across all classes. Certainly history in the making for the Noale factory today. What of Honda then, of course, if you've not been with us for the weekend so far? Pol Espargaro, the sole rider from a permanent point of view for Repsol Honda. He's got a temporary replacement in the form of their test rider, Stefan Bradl, but the 93 flags that you can see there and caps in the grandstand, unfortunately, Marc Marquez is not here. The diplopia that ended his season early in 2021 after a crash in training ahead of the Algarve Grand Prix returned following that vicious high-side morning warm-up last weekend, or 2 weekends ago, should I say, in Indonesia. Marc Marquez is doing okay. The diplopia is not as severe as the last time he experienced it at the end of last season, but it's, of course, ruled him out of contention for this weekend's Grand Prix. We expect to find out on Monday or Tuesday if Marc Marquez is likely to return at one of his favourite venues on the calendar, the Circuit of the Americas, next weekend.
Alex Rins there, we just saw briefly on screens. The Team Suzuki X-Star rider starts from 7th place on the grid ahead of the 3rd row. Rins got a great record here. 5 finishes previously in Tomas 3 Honda. They've all been top 5. Keep an eye on this man as well. Do not discount the hard-charging Sunday man, Brad Binder. He was really unfortunate at the end of that second qualifying session yesterday. We thought he might be breaking Aprilia hearts. On his last lap, he was up through the first 2 sectors by the small margin of 4 thousandths of a second, but a mistake coming through turn 6 when, with a bit more lean angle, he just caught the shift lever and shifted up to 5th gear, and that just disrupted his rhythm in that second sector. Brad Binder, 11th place. He has got good race pace though, and as we say, he's a Sunday man. Watch him charging through.
Just underlines once again just how competitive MotoGP is nowadays. We of course saw a Ducati and a Honda battling for a large part of the race in Qatar. We then saw Yamaha back on the front row pole position last time out, and now we had a KTM potentially challenging an Aprilia for pole position here in Argentina. Pecco Bagnaia, unfortunately for him, was nowhere near that battle for pole position. He wasn't even in qualifying 2 yesterday. He has to start from 13th on the grid alongside his teammate Jack Miller, who was relegated 3 places due to the penalty we alluded to a moment or 2 ago. But a desperate weekend in many respects for Pecco Bagnaia so far. Only 1 point to show, of course, from his first 2 Grand Prix of the season, and the pressure began to tell. We've never seen the kind of body language and frustration, the visible frustration that we saw from Pecco Bagnaia yesterday. But today's new day. Can he fight back from 14th on the grid and earn some valuable championship points? Because boy, does he need them.
Johann Zarco, a welcome return to the top 3 for him last time out in that wet race in Mandalika. The 31-year-old Frenchman. That was his first podium in 13 races since the Catalunya battle in Barcelona last year. It was from his first front row in 12 as well. Jack Miller then thought he was going to be starting from 11th place. There was no repeat of his 2018 pole position heroics in qualifying yesterday. Miller with a lot of work to do. He's actually sandwiched in between 2 Italians, Pecco Bagnaia and Franco Morbidelli on that 5th row. Fabio Quartararo, what can he do from the 2nd row in 6th place? But here we go then. The stage is set. The stage is set. Surely there's never been a better chance for Aprilia and for Aleix Espargaro to break their long victory duck in this MotoGP World Championship. He's already given the screen of Aprilia a bit of a reassuring tap. Now it's the tank. He's just hoping that that motorcycle can hold together underneath it, because based on what we've seen so far this weekend, his stunning performance, not just in terms of 1 lap speed in FP2, he had great race pace in that second practice session on pole position. He was supreme again this morning in the morning warm-up session. He's the big pre-race favourite. Short odds on Aleix Espargaro. Today is the day. It looks like destiny is written in the stars for Aleix Espargaro to mark his 200th MotoGP appearance, potentially from the top step of the podium.
Discussing the history that he's made, of course, just this weekend in Argentina. Of course, we've already touched on the fact that it's his 200th Grand Prix today in the MotoGP class. He's the first rider in the MotoGP era since 2002 to take pole position for 3 different manufacturers. Of course, a Ford Yamaha pole position back in 2014. He then took the first pole for Suzuki on their return to MotoGP, and that was Aleix's last pole in the 2015 Catalan Grand Prix. He now starts with pole for Aprilia. You just saw Bastianini a few moments ago. He's, of of course, going into this race as the World Championship leader, largely due to his victory in the opening round of the season in Qatar. Recovered pretty well for a very desperate opening to that Grand Prix in the wet in Indonesia. Recovered through to 11th to take the championship lead on 30 points. He's 2 points clear of Brad Binder, although with the top 9 riders covered by 10 points. If you've got a good prediction as to who's going to lead the championship out of this weekend, Dakota, then you're a better man than me.
Tyre allocation then from Michelin ahead of the Michelin Grand Prix of Argentina. It looks like the preferred pick pre-race. It will be a big surprise if anybody deviated from the selection of the hard front, soft rear tyre. That was what Aleix Espargaro looked so good on in FP2 yesterday. We've heard from Piero Talamasso speaking to Simon Crafar, the Michelin Motorsport manager, throughout this weekend. It seems like it looks like it will be. Everybody will go for the hard front, soft rear tyre. Will there be anybody that might just roll the dice? We'll get the Michelin tyre information sheet very shortly, and we'll try and keep you posted on what the tyre selections are.
A few riders did experiment with a soft front tyre this morning, although I don't think that was necessarily with a view to the race. A lot of riders this morning wanted to check rear tyre consumption. Alex Rins in free practice 2 yesterday did do a fairly long run on a medium front tyre, but it does appear as if the harder front is going to be the preferred option. It is a race that is particularly tough on tyres here, this Tomás de Rio Hondo circuit, so it is important to try and keep some tyre left for the closing stages of the Grand Prix. From Aleix Espargaro's point of view, many riders are identifying the first couple of laps of this race because they feel that Aleix Espargaro, with the race rhythm that he showed in free practice 2 yesterday, he was able to lap in the high 38 should I say, and certainly low 39s for fun, whilst many riders struggle to get out of the mid 39s. If Aleix Espargaro can get the start and get into his rhythm early on, there's a real fear amongst his rivals that they won't see which way he goes.
As we mentioned before, this seems like it is the day for Aleix Espargaro to finally shine. He's had so many opportunities throughout his Grand Prix career. This is his 284th Grand Prix start. 32 years of age now, Aleix Espargaro. Just the 2 podiums in his previous 199 MotoGP starts. 4th in Qatar, of course, at the start of the season. This kind of shows you the progress that Aprilia have made at the start of 2022. 4th in Doha was only Aprilia's 10th top 6 in their MotoGP history. And here we are, about a month down the track, thinking that today could be the day that they finally are race winners in the MotoGP World Championship. I'm sure we've got a mixture of an excited and very tense Aprilia Racing boss Massimo Rivola down the grid with Simon Crafar. Aleix Espargaro on pole, Maverick Vinales in 5th. Is today the day, Simon? Down to you.
Yes, Massimo, the true captain of the Aprilia ship. I'd love to know, how does it feel to have both of your machines in the top 5 and be on pole position today going into the race?
Actually, pole position is quite new for us. It's a nice view from here. I hope. I think Aleix is ready. He's very mature. He's confident. He's very focused. We are very focused. We are working well, and to be honest, I think we deserve it, and we deserve a bit more. So let's be focused on today. But we are quite proud of the job we are doing.
I couldn't agree more. Also, I speak to a lot of the different teams, and they all believe you're ready. And on paper, Aleix looks so good, race pace. Can you give us your thoughts also on Maverick?
Yeah, it's true that Aleix is quite fast, but racing, better than me that you never say never. And to be honest, Maverick as well showed a good rhythm in FP as well as in warm-up. So I think if he has a good start, he has the pace to stay with the guys in front.
Massimo, thank you for your time. A lot of people have got their fingers crossed for you today.
No, me too. Thank you.
A bit of a nervous laugh at the end there from Massimo Rivola. You can certainly understand why. You just saw a look at the grid a moment or two ago, and according to that sheet that we saw, certainly the initial view is that all the riders have gone to the grid on the hard front, soft rear. Marc Marquez is training hard to try and get himself back. We hope to see him again in the near future. As I say, we expect to hear in the next 48 hours or so whether we'll see him in the Grand Prix of the Americas. But just to touch upon the grid you saw a moment ago, it's Aleix Espargaro, of course, on pole from Martin and Marini, with Pol Espargaro, Maverick Vinales and Fabio Quartararo on row 2. The Suzukis go from row 3 with the championship leader leader Enea Bastianini and his closest rival Brad Binder on row 4. The factory Ducatis have to come through from row 5. And Miguel Oliveira, our most recent winner, he is back on row 6. Simon, down to you.
I'm with Fonzie Nieto from Pramac, and your man Jorge Martin second on the grid. Also Johan Zarco looking quite good all weekend. Can you tell us your thoughts going into today's race?
No, we are happy about the tires, especially because it's very critical in the last races, and we are very confident about the durability of the tires, and for that is very important, especially with the Ducati. Jorge make an amazing start to the qualifying always, and we have to have a very good start and try to make rhythm. I think Alex have a little bit more this weekend. We have to pay attention with him.
Okay, one other thing, I know I agree with you, Jorge Martin did an amazing job yesterday, but he also seemed confident about the race and being able to do the pace. Do you feel the same?
Yes, because the two crashes in the two first races is just unlucky because he crashed with Pecco in Qatar and with the water in Indonesia. For that, we have to do our work in the same condition and as always, and try to do our best.
Thank you, Fonzie. Good luck.
Yeah, thanks to Fonzie Nieto. His men, Jorge Martin, of course, on the front row, and Johan Zarco in 9th place as we get the aerial stunt show taking place before this Tomax Rio Hondo battle. Rather them than me. There's not enough money on planet Earth to get me in that aeroplane, I can assure you.
It's been catching our attention, hasn't it? As it's been flying close to the paddock as we've been making our way through over the course of the weekend. Certainly no lack of talent there. We're looking at Darren Binder's motorcycle on the grid.
Yeah, what's going on down there? I'm not quite sure whether there's like a sort of a few anxious faces. I think that's Frankie Morbidelli's crew. That's Stewie Miller there in the background. Ramon Ficada also there involved. He's Franco Morbidelli's crew chief. Andrew Griffiths is there, the data engineer. He's also part of the Morbidelli crew. So I'm not sure if there's some kind of an issue on the grid. I don't know if you can find out, Simon. We'll quickly go down to, we can go down and find out maybe what's going on with the factory Yamaha of Frankie Morbidelli. Oh, it's Andrea Dovizioso, of course. I'm thinking about last year. So we'll go down to see Mario Merigani with Monster Energy Yamaha boss.
Yes, I promise I'll race down from here and find out what's going on down there. But Mayo, I have to say, Fabio looks fantastic, like a safe bet, it looks like from the outside for the podium. I want to know, more importantly, your thoughts.
Yeah, we have the same thought, and the pace he had even today with the really used rear tire has been good. There are many other riders that I think they are closer or same. It will be, in my opinion, very important for him to try to start very well. Maybe catching Aleix, that on the paper is the rider that has the better pace. And then we expect that maybe at the end of the race the rear soft will drop a bit, but anyway, this is the choice that everyone took. So we expect also others will have to pay with this problem. But for the rest, we are quite confident. And also talking about Morbidelli, this morning he was quite satisfied. Yesterday, I think we tried to explore a different path than usual to try to improve the braking. Even though his feeling was good, but in terms of results and also data, we could not see what we were looking for. So this morning we came back and the feeling was immediately back as it was before. So he already showed us what he was able to do at the start in Indonesia. We told him to do the same.
Mayo, thank you for your time. Good luck today.
You're welcome.
Yeah, thanks, Maya. Thanks to Simon Crayford. I know there's a reason why I've been prescribed glasses, of course. Apologies. I was so used to seeing Stewie Miller and Andy Griffiths, Ramon Ficada working with Franco Morbidelli. Of course, they're now part of Andrea Dovizioso's crew. So, yeah, I need to pay another visit to the optician, I think, when I get home from Texas.
Yeah, we'll see what happens with that bike, whether they've got whatever issue it is fixed with Andrea Dovizioso, who's got a pretty decent record around here, it has to be said. He's got a couple of podiums here in the past, 2 podiums back in 2015 and 2019. 2019, although he perhaps lost a potential podium in 2016 when he was taken out by his then teammate Andrea Iannone, although we'll potentially move past that, because I'm sure Andrea Dovizioso doesn't want to be reminded of that particular moment. But it's an interesting race ahead for the factory Yamaha team. Fabio Quartararo going from 6th on the grid, Franco Morbidelli from 15th. Quartararo seems pretty happy with his pace, but he has to try and come through from the back of the second row. We hear it's a problem with the generator for the tyre warmers down there on the grid on Andrea Dovizioso's bike, so seemingly no great issue with the motorcycle itself. So Andrea Dovizioso likely to be able to take the start from his 18th position on the grid.
So we just saw there down on the grid, ready for our new grid ceremony, which will be taking place in about 4 minutes' time. Dorna CEO Carmelo Espeleta, delighted, of course, to see MotoGP back in South America for the first time since 2019. There'll be local dignitaries also involved in the new grid ceremony, which will include the MotoGP trophy stand with the race winning prize here at the end of the 25-lap Michelin Grand Prix of Argentina, and the big prize, what they're all fighting for, of course, the Tower of Champions. That will be on display very, very shortly, as we'll also hear the Argentinian national anthem. Let's quickly pop back down to the grid. It's been a dismal weekend so far for the factory Ducati team. Pecco Bagnaia 13th, Jack Miller 14th. Let's hear the pre-race thoughts of their team manager, Davide Tardozzi, with Simon.
Yes, as my colleague Matt just said, we'd love to hear your pre-race thoughts about both Pecco and Jack.
I think that Pecco is not so bad, while Jack faced some trouble this morning in the warm-up. He's not very happy about his warm-up, but we'll see if he will recover during the race. There's more problem he had. While I'm confident that Pecco, if he have a good start, he can do a fantastic race.
Thank you, Davide.
Yeah, thanks, Simon. Thanks to Davide Tardozzi. So Jack Miller, not the pre-race boost he was looking for. Not a great warm-up. It was extended to 40 minutes this morning. A chance for riders to work on race setup with the lost track time here from Friday. Jack Miller ruining that sort of tangle as well with Fabio Quartararo in Q2. Kevin Benavides, the 2021 Dakar winner. Great to see him here soaking up some MotoGP atmosphere. Of course, Danilo Petrucci created history, didn't he? I'm just